One of the most common questions I get is how is it to live in Switzerland? And in this video I will be sharing with you my daily life, what actually look like to live in Switzerland, and I will be doing so as I usually do. So stay tuned and make sure you smash the subscribe button if you are not subscribed yet, because this video will be the truth about Switzerland, the good things and the bad things. Well, first thing first, we need to actually run some errands. One of the most important errands we have today is to buy the food for our doggy. So for this, we actually going outside Switzerland. Yes, the reality. We are not actually going to do grocery shopping in Switzerland because it's too expensive. So as I said, one of the things that definitely will be a life change for you if you're living in Switzerland, and specifically if you live in the border of Switzerland as we do, is to actually go grocery shopping in the country next door. In this case for us will be Italy, but for many other people living in Switzerland could be Austria, could be Germany. And this is because when you are actually living in Switzerland, the grocery will be like very expensive around for you if you do it in Switzerland. If you don't do it in Switzerland, it probably is gonna be very cheap. I'd say 3 times cheaper than Switzerland. For example, when we go grocery shopping for the whole week in Italy, we'll spend around 170 to 120 euros for the week. Meanwhile, if you will go in Switzerland to do the grocery shopping for the whole week, you will be spending probably around 350 francs to stay like very in a budget. Another thing that people may not know is that if you do grocery shopping or you do any type of like purchase outside Switzerland, you can actually claim the tax back. How does it really work? For example, for grocery shopping, if you spend anything in between 150 euros, 300 euros, you can actually claim back the taxes, which is like in between 12 and 15% of what you actually purchase. Make an example, if you spend 150 euros, you will get back anything in between 15 and 17 euros back, which is actually not too bad because that will pay petrol that you spend in order to reach that grocery shop that usually it's really like nearby the border, so it's not gonna even cost you a fortune to actually reach those places. A little extra money back in your pocket, never bad to feel like, oh, I'm getting some money back. Okay, here we are. We got the food. As I said, doing the grocery shopping outside Switzerland is probably the best option. You will pay less for food of the dog or like grocery for your kitchen. It's a good thing for the people that live on the border. It's a bad thing for the people that decide to not live on the border or they cannot live on the border. And so this is something that you have to keep in mind if you are thinking to relocate to Switzerland. But of course, not all the things like that seems good are actually good. I mean, you have some sort of limits of like what you can bring inside Switzerland. So you have to keep in mind, you cannot just go to the next country and buy tons of like grocery shopping. You will have some limits on, for example, oil, milk, specifically on meat. You can buy, for example, only 1 kilogram per person of meat. So you want to do like grocery shopping for the whole family, then you have to keep in mind that you won't be able to buy that meat because you can't just say, oh, I have 4 kids home or I have my wife home. No, it doesn't work like that. So there are those things that you need to keep in mind if you are going to purchase things outside Switzerland. But now let's go back to Switzerland so I can show you more about like, you know, rent, utilities, like things that you know, like you want to know before you move to Switzerland. So we are back home now. Let's talk about one of the most important thing about Switzerland itself, which is the living cost of Switzerland. Let's start with the rent. It really depends where you're living. Of course, if you're living in Zurich or Geneva or Lugano, those are probably the 3 most expensive cities. Keep that in mind. But if you're not living like specifically in the city center and you're living a little bit like outside the city center or like, for example, on the border, the cost of living, it's definitely more affordable compared to the average net income of a Swiss person or Swiss resident. Just to give you an idea, for example, right now we are in Ticino, Canton. We are living near the border, 5 minutes from Lake Como, 17 minutes by car from Lugano, and we're paying for 120 meters square plus garden around 2,200 Swiss francs. I know it might sound a lot, but believe me, it's actually like not too bad. I've seen apartments in Lugano which were way smaller, yet they were in the city center, but the price was insane.
insane. You have to keep in mind that the average Swiss resident will pay around anything in between 1,500 Swiss franc and it can go above like 2,000 Swiss franc. That's the first thing. The second thing is health insurance, which is mandatory in Switzerland. There's no public health here in Switzerland as, for example, in Italy. That will take another up to 600 Swiss franc per month from each person living in the house. If you are an independent, so you're not working for someone, it will be slightly more expensive because you will have to basically cover the cost of the entire health insurance by yourself. When you are employee, you know, part of the cost is covered by the employer, so it will be less damaging on your net income, let's say that. Utilities, in terms of like water, gas, electricity, I think they are great, you know, they're not like super high. We pay roughly just electricity and water around 300 every 3 months, something like that, 300 Swiss francs, so that's not too bad. Those are the main utilities, main bills that you're gonna actually pay in Switzerland. This was the bad part of Switzerland, let's say that. I think it's the one that everyone is complaining about. Switzerland is very expensive. Of course, I am not mentioning like that if you go out eating in a restaurant or if you go out doing any sort of activities, that will come with a price and the price is gonna be very high. For me, for example, that I'm a person that love to travel around, I've noticed that in Switzerland, like a night in a hotel is probably twice as expensive as a night in a hotel in Italy, just to give you an idea. Why Switzerland is the most expensive country in the world? Because Switzerland is the most beautiful country in the world. Because Switzerland is the most safe country in the world. Because in Switzerland, everything works. From the hospitals to bureaucracy to the taxes, everything you actually expect to not work in your country, okay? So, Switzerland is expensive, yes, but everything else works.
Now, let me show you why Switzerland is the most beautiful country in the world. In just 10-15 seconds, I will be showing you the best places to visit in Switzerland. And before I let you go to the next video, make sure you smash that subscribe button if you're not subscribed yet and leave a thumbs up below. If you have any comment or question, there's a comment bar below and I will be coming back to each of you. I'll see you at the next video.